And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Jerry Lawler, Chuck Palumbo, Andre the Giant's daughter. Really nice interviews. But I pulled up, Jimmy, last year I went on my rant about A.J. Lee. All right, so the great Stacy Keibler will be in the big event. So I wanted to share the prices that Stacy Keibler will be charging. You ready? And then you and Sal can weigh in on it. You ready?
Please read that. Go ahead.
So for one autograph of Stacy Keibler, $139.
Yeah.
One pro photo op with Stacy Keibler, a pro photo op. Someone takes your camera and takes a picture. $149.
Yeah, right.
Stacy Keibler inscription. So if you want her to put to Sal Corrente, that's an extra $29. But if you're really fortunate enough and you want the VIP package with Stacy Keibler, that's 4 autographs and a pro autograph, a photo, on your phone. It's the low price of $549. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is what it comes down to, guys. Stacy Keibler probably doesn't need this money, and she's avoided doing any of these things for a long time. From the celebrity world, I can tell you right now, there were numerous stars. When Jerry Mathers finally came out, I ran into him and I said, Jerry, we had an event. We offered you a lot of money. You refused to do it. It was way more probably than it was worth, but, somebody wanted to have Jerry Mathers the first time. And he said, I wasn't doing them then, but I'm doing them now. He said, you call me anytime. And, there are guys that will make a ridiculous price or something that doesn't seem fair, and people will say no. But then sometimes they're surprised and people say yes, and then they have to go do it. Stacy has a price. The promoter's got to get back, what they've put out. If Stacy Keibler can get the kind of money she gets, the promoter has to charge accordingly and hope that people are willing to pay that.
But
do I think it's a lot? I told you I gave 95 wrestlers for $299 and a live wrestling event, and I was panned as being a crook.
Yeah, right.
I will say that I was always a huge Stacy Keibler fan, but
listen,
she's not out there working.
I understand, but there comes a point I can't imagine. Look, unless she's the most important thing in your life, I could not imagine forking out that kind of money just to get an autograph and a photo. Honestly, Jimmy, Mackenzie Phillips is going to be there. I might go for a Mackenzie Phillips for $30. You know what I mean? But
right.
Right.
Well, Mackenzie Phillips is worth more to me than Stacy Keibler. How about them apples?
Listen, I love Stacy Keibler. I'm a huge fan of her, but I'm not a big enough fan for a photo for $549 that I'll never look at again. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to understand this. Stacy's agent is not going to the wrestling business saying, "Hey, we're trying to get Stacy work." Right? I know many people have tried to book Stacy over the years. It hasn't worked out. She's not really looking to do this, but if you make it worth her while, I guess she'll do it.
Which I heard was ready, Jimmy. What she's getting paid for this event?
Go ahead.
Take a guess.
I can't. I'm sure it's thousands of dollars. I'm sure.
How about $100,000, Jimmy? So Sal's right. That is what it took to drag Stacy Keibler out of her home. Obviously, she's got plenty of money, right? But
I don't think it took that. I think you're a little bit south of the number, but
wait a minute. Did you say south of the number?
Yeah, that means you think she got more than that?
Yes.
Whoa! Holy jeez!
Hey, Mike? Can I just say, bouncing off Sal's comment, she ain't gonna make it worth my while. I am not interested.
I'll add on to this.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I could be reincarnated as Stacy Keibler. I'm serious,
Wow.
man. Holy shit.
Wow.
Wow.
You have a
Keep
lot
in
of
mind,
cars.
guys,
You have a lot
there's
of
only
cars.
so long, she hasn't done events, right? There's only so long, and you can command this type of money. But she doesn't want to work and doesn't need to work,
Right.
right? And
Right,
it's look, when Ray Courts had the Hollywood Collectors Show. That's where I got my start, out in North Hollywood at the Beverly Garland Holiday Inn. Then we moved it over to the Marriott. And there were times when he would tell the talent, I'm sorry, you can't charge that at my show. He said, my fans are not used to that. Now, certainly there are people that had more value than others, no question. But, after a while, even he conceded. And I'll tell you why he conceded. Because as the people were raising the prices, people didn't stop getting on the line. And I'll tell you who one of the biggest ones is that kept raising his prices, Adam West, Batman. But you know what? No matter how expensive him or his agent put it, the people just stayed on the line. So what are you going to do? I mean, tell somebody, you're going to tell Stacy Keibler, hey, somebody's willing to pay you this, but I'm telling you, you're not worth it, so turn it down. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
All I'm saying,
the promoter has to determine what his audience wants.
This was my whole point about, like, AJ Lee. And I'm talking on a morality issue, right? You're a young kid, and you don't have the fortunate life of having parents that have a ton of money. You idolize. I idolize you, Sal, and I don't have any time, like, never do you come to New York, and this is the one time you're coming to New York. I've lived and I've watched, and I idolize you. And in order to meet my hero, Sal Corrente, I got to figure out a way to come up with $549. I understand that Stacy can get this money. I get it. But isn't there a point of morality here? And maybe this is why I should never be a promoter, because, Jimmy, I told you, when I did Roddy Piper, people were crying they had no money. I was letting them get pictures for $5 because I just didn't have the heart, right? This is their hero. I didn't have that heart. And maybe I'm a sucker. But do you understand what I'm saying, Sal? Am I wrong?
Well, I believe America's a free country and people can charge what they want to charge. And there's all kinds of things that are out of the purchase price for somebody. If a promoter feels like, well, first of all, there's no gray area. When her agents are making a deal, this is the deal. You either take it or you don't. And the one thing that I will tell you is in our wrestling business, you're running out of talent. I mean, these people are either with the big companies, and there's very few people that haven't done anything. A guy like Rick Martel, who, we had Martel and Santana at our Toronto event, but I can't get Rick to do anything anymore. He really doesn't want to go anywhere or do anything. He's probably more in demand than some of these other people because he hasn't been out for 10 years or so.
I'll tell you what, if you were lucky enough to get Rick Martel, you would clean house.
Well, right. But
yeah.
when we had him in Toronto, we had Strike Force there, and they were one of the biggest events. And I'll tell you, there's a guy, unfortunately, sometimes people do things they shouldn't be doing. And people had told, I knew Martel years before, but he didn't remember me. And unfortunately, we got into a discussion on the phone, and he wanted to be paid in advance. And I don't pay people in advance. Life happens.
Yeah, and
and I have a reputation for paying everybody. So he eventually said, well, then I'm not coming. I said, don't come. I said, it's up to you. I said, but I can't change the way I do business. Well, 2 hours later, he called and said, listen, if you don't mind, I'm still going to come. I said, of course not. Come on. So later, Tito told me that, and I knew, Mean Gene Okerlund told me what happened and why Martel went sideways the way he did. I don't want to start knocking anybody, but I understood. But Tito told me, he said, Rick, it doesn't matter what happens. You're going to get paid. Don't worry about it. I've worked for these guys for years. And, sometimes people get involved and just do bad things that they shouldn't do. And you can't understand it or explain it. But it all worked out great. And I'm glad he came because other than Roddy Piper and Bruno, Strikeforce was the most popular team at the convention.
And what did you charge for a Strikeforce autograph?
Oh, geez, I don't remember. But you got to remember, this was 2012. I mean, things weren't crazy like they are now.
It's only 10 years.
Yeah. Well, but things have changed a hell of a lot in 10 years. as more and more people have come and people have raised their prices, the one problem I have with a lot of the wrestlers is this. They think if they bring in $5,000, they should be paid $5,000. Well, it doesn't work that way. I mean, there has to be, that's like telling the promoter at an event you just wrestled at, well, the house was $100,000. Make sure you divide that all up among the talent. Well, that's crazy. It doesn't work that way. But I don't know. Who knows? It was probably $50 for a combo or something. I let Michael at High Spots worry about most of that stuff. I tried to do more inclusive pricing, where pay this, get everything. Now today the business is totally different. Most of the talent is brought in by vendors, and I had told Michael when we had a discussion. I said, I think it's time to be landlords rather than promoters. It just seems like that's the way to go with this thing. So